Tell me about Serenade.
Serenade was a 27.5-foot Pearson Triton, made of fiberglass. Had a light blue hull and a white cabin.
I've never got that from the pictures. It had a light blue hull.
Had a light blue hull.
That sounds really pretty. That's cool.
And it was a pretty little boat.
What made
It was just a classic little sloop.
Yeah. What makes it a classic sailboat for you?
It had the transom kind of cut back under, and the bow it wasn't too straight up and down. It was just a classic little
Just
ship.
in appearance, it just looked like a classic.
It was when you think of a sailboat, that's what you think of. And when being around them, as a kid and all, it was kind of a fiberglass version of the sailboat the guy lived on. That I knew when I was a little boy, that he lived in the marina by where we kept our boat down there.
Right.
And it was a little wood boat, and I can't remember what make or anything it was, but it looked kind of like that, a sloop, one mast. It had a headsail and a mainsail, and that was it.
We talked in a past episode about that guy, about you experiencing that guy down in San Pedro.
I don't remember his name or anything.
Right. Was it always the plan when you were looking for a boat to move aboard?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. That's what I planned to do. That's why I went looking for a boat. I liked the thought of living aboard a sailboat.
It was a time of constriction, of paring away. But at the same time, it was something else. It's 1968. And Bobby has gotten rid of most of his worldly possessions, even throwing out the trophies his father won as a celebrated yachtsman in the 30s. He sold what was left of his Formula B race car after the crash at Riverside, and, inspired by a free spirit he encountered as a boy in the harbor at San Pedro, has moved aboard his new sloop, Serenade. Finally under his own power, Bobby goes about fashioning the life he wants to live and meeting some of the key people who will animate and bedevil that life for years to come.
So, how much did you pay for it? This blows me away.
$8,000.
$8,000 for an almost 30-foot sailboat back, and that's wonderful. And you had to finance it. I know that.
Yes, I did. But I was working at the studios then, and it was easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even remember what my payments were, but it was,
no problem.
Not a problem.
Yeah. And that reminded me too of your father back in the 30s when he walked into the bank and met your mom, and he was looking for a loan for a car, I guess it was. Yeah.
That's was it. A 36 Ford convertible. And he bought it.
Wow. So and just as an aside, because you were both at the time, and he was working, and then you were at the time when you bought Serenade were in the same field, right? Studio projectionist. I wonder if that's still a thing.
No,
nowadays.
I'm sure they're all gone.
Yeah, it's got to be all digital now, right?
I haven't even been into. I never go to movies because I was a projectionist.
Is it a drag to go to a movie as a former projectionist?
Yeah, because you look at it's out of focus. Oh, man, you missed the cue, bro. You just do that right in the middle of the movie. And I saw so many movies. I mean, thousands sitting in Technicolor watching them go by at 300 feet a minute.
So how much faster is that than, I guess
a normal one is 90 feet a minute.
Oh, so you're, okay.
The thing is just flying by and you see hundreds of the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
I'd seen enough movies forever.
That's great.
And it's been 30 years since I've gone to a movie.
Wow.
I never go to movies.
I'll be damned, really. That's funny. Yeah, you just can't get that out of your system. Wow, okay, yeah. So you get Serenade. Where was Serenade?
It was in Newport Beach.
Okay.
Bought it from a guy named Walt.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, bring it. Is that up then? Up to Marina del Rey?
I can't remember how it got up there. I don't remember if I brought it up or my girlfriend at the time, Nancy, and I brought it up, or if Walt brought it up and left it there. I can't remember.
Yeah, okay.
I just can't remember.
So you get Serenade and first boat in Bar Harbor, right?
I took it. Yep, Bar Harbor just opened, and my boat was the first boat to go in there.
That's wonderful.
And I wish I'd taken a picture.
Oh wow, yeah.
And you look at it today, it's.
Yeah, last year we were down there, and it's just
God, I couldn't believe it. Looks like apartment houses with a little water between each.
Maybe, yeah. If it weren't for the masts, you wouldn't even know there was water there. Yeah. It's just
and it wasn't that way.
Right.
And, when I was down there in the 60s.
What was it like in Marina del Rey in the 60s?
It was a typical little harbor-any place. It was just really getting going.
Yeah.
And there were plenty of boats by the time I moved to, there were weekends, there were lots of people zipping around there.
Yeah.
But on the weekdays, it was pretty laid back. The only people there were the liveaboards.
Yeah. Were there, like, any sense of, like, were there a lot of liveaboards?
There sure were real quick.
Really, yeah.
In fact, when I moved over to Neptune Marina, it was $52 a month to live there. Well, come on. And $52 a month is what you're paying for rent for yourself and your boat.
Right.
I mean, you hardly beat it.
Yeah.
And I was there about a year, and by then there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people just on our dock that were living on the boat.
Okay, wow. All right.
And John and Joni and Monique and myself, and I think Don Glidden had a trimaran there, and a guy named Stein, he had a trimaran there, Bill Stein. I mean, and a bunch of us, just lived there. Well, I came one day, there was a note on the boat, and they wanted us to come in and register, and it was going to be an extra $100 a month if you lived on your boat, which was still, let's face it, pretty damn good rent.
Yeah.
But I just forgot about it and never bothered to go. And there were so many of us that I just sort of melded into the crowd, and they never came back at me. I lived there until I left for $52 a month, and it was for another 4 or 5 years.
Oh my gosh, I just leave that up to you to self-report, right? Oh, I'm here to pay you my extra $100, right?
And it wasn't that I even worried about paying it. I just forgot about it until about 6 months had gone by, and I never did that. Oh, well, why start now?
Yeah, right, So you mentioned John and Joni, John Piner, right?
Yeah.
So how'd you meet John Piner?
I met him at Technicolor. He was another studio projectionist. And I never did find out how he got into it or not. I never asked him. But we met there, and we started out, I was learning to fly. And so was he. And it turns out we were both learning to fly from Gunnell Aviation.
Wow.
In Santa Monica Airport.
At the same time? You guys were both there as students?
Yes, I hadn't seen him there or anything, but we had just both started to learn to fly. And I said, "Who's your instructor?" And he said, "John." "That's mine too."
Oh, wow.
I mean, come on. But at the time, I was still living in Bar Harbor, and he was over in Neptune Marina, which is just across Marquesas Way.
Right.
And
so I want to draw that as clearly as possible. Here's a person that you meet at work, and you met him at work, not in Marina del Rey. You met him at Technicolor, who also.
But he hadn't gotten his boat yet.
Not
it was
yet?
being built.
And he was going to move aboard.
And he moved to just, the marina next to us.
So he's not only a studio projectionist who's going to very soon be a liveaboard on his boat that was being built, but he's also learning to fly at the same place you would learn to fly.
With the same instructor.
That is nuts.
Yes, it is.
Wow. What kind of guy was John?
Good guy. Capable, good seaman. Yeah. Excellent sailor. Right. Best sailor I've known. I mean, that I've been close to. He is the best. So,
and I know that you get into racing with him. And
on his boat, mostly.
Yeah.
We raced my boat once or twice.
Really? I didn't realize you'd race Serenade.
Oh, yeah. I mean, race any sailboat,
Well, yeah, but I didn't know you had.
We raced it once or twice. But we usually race John boat, and then we race La Volpe with Pete.
And now, how'd you meet Pete?
I met him down at the harbor. He was looking for some crew for his he had a schooner named La Volpe.
There in Marina del Rey, not down in San Pedro.
Okay, and that's where I met him down in the marina.
Wow, you're just looking for crew, and you're all like, hey?
I think we knew he was looking for crew and said, hey, or somebody brought him over. We met him someplace, and he was looking for crew, so John and I went and crewed for him.
Wow, okay.
And John was a real good helmsman. Really good.
Take us through some of that. I know in the book, and this will be the first time I guess we mentioned the book. There's a description in the first chapter of a race that you.
The Point Doom race.
Yeah.
Oh no, that I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
La Volpe was 46 feet, I think.
And older, right?
And built 1924.
Ooh. Okay.
And it was
so wood.
A wood,
yeah,
and a much heavier than the modern boats. And but she carried a lot of sail. And we started out at Marina del Rey, and the race was from Marina del Rey up to the buoy at Point Dume, and then all the way down to the across Santa Monica Bay to the buoy at Redondo, just off Redondo, and then back to the Marina del Rey, the harbor at Marina.
How long would that take? So
it took all day.
All day, right?
Yeah,
okay.
And it was, let's see, it's probably about close to 30 miles up to Point Dume, 25 maybe, and then probably 45 or 50 miles on a straight shot down to Redondo.
Okay.
And then another probably 10 miles back to Marina del Rey.
Okay. Like back up to Marina del Rey?
Yeah, back up. Right. And so you're on different tacks on the wind.
Right.
Way. But we started at Marina del Rey probably at noon. Usually started at 11 o'clock or noon. Might have even been 10 in the morning or something, but I think it was noon. And we, going to weather on real light airs. And we got...
Okay, so just for anybody who's not a sailor or a mariner, and I sort of know what you're talking about after having gone through the year and a half and writing the book. Explain what going to weather on light airs means.
It means you're going to where the wind is coming from, and the wind is real light, hardly any wind.
Okay.
And you're going to weather. And we went to weather in that light air, and it took us a few hours to get. I think we probably left before noon, because it took us 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 hours to get up to Point Dume.
Wow.
And we were the last boat to round the buoy at Point Dume. I mean, the very last boat of the whole fleet.
Oh my God.
And then the wind came up, and we had every sail the Volpe had. The one between the masts, it's this giant big sail. It's called a golly wobbler. That's the only time I've ever been on a boat that flew one.
Really?
And we had the golly, and we started passing boats. And that big old schooner was just moving.
Yeah.
And heeled over a little bit with a broad reach, and we just going by boats all day long. We got to Redondo in the late afternoon and rounded the buoy in Redondo, and most of the fleet was behind us by this time.
Wow.
And we started from Marina del Rey. It got dark, and maybe we were a mile from Marina del Rey, and up ahead we could see one more white stern light.
Oh, wow.
And we went by it 100 yards before the finish line. And that was the boat we had to beat to win the race.
Oh my God.
And yeah.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
Oh yeah,
really...
and it was the best sailboat race I'd ever been on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So John's at the helm for that.
And John was on the helm most of the time, and actually he's the reason we won it.
What made John a good mariner in that context as a helm, at the helm on La Volpe?
Being able to stay on the weather without dropping off or coming up too much.
Okay.
Being able to keep it right there. And
it's like managing kind of the pressure of the
so you're
boats
managing
under?
the pressure on the headsail.
Okay.
Is what you're doing.
All right.
And if you get too much into the wind, the front of the sail will
you'll lose.
You'll start to, and if you get off of it, there will be none, but you'll start to fall off. But what will happen is you're not going where you want to go now. You're going off to the side some, see.
So you've got to keep that narrow window just right in.
Right there. And when you're going up and down overseas and stuff, you're coming down and it changes every time. The trick is to have a little lead time and be able to, and some people are real good at it, most aren't.
You just got to have that feel, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And that's what John had.
And John had it.
I'll be damned. That's really awesome. That's cool. So, how long? You're getting into this scene in the marina. Talk to me about the yachties, just as a scene, and about Doc Nassie's ranch.
About what?
Doc Nassie's ranch.
Oh yeah. I mean, they were just liveaboards. Everybody had their lives and their jobs and whatnot. And we lived on the boats.
Is that what makes a yachty?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're living on the boat.
Okay.
I mean, there are yachties they're weekend yachties too. I mean, if it's your lifestyle, you're into it. Sometimes you may work someplace else and live, but if you're down there every weekend, you're a yachty.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
And some people are full time, and some of us were.
Okay.
But interesting people, Don Glidden was a Continental Airlines pilot and a smart guy.
Yeah.
Smart, big, about 6'4".
This was a guy, he was just down, he was on your finger, on your dock rather down on
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And first he had a smaller trimaran. I don't remember the name of it. And then he bought a big catamaran and named it the I Love You Too.
That's wonderful.
And the tragedy is he went sailing and he was lost in the South Pacific.
Wow.
I heard that they found half the hull of one of the hulls 6 months later, floating 1,000 miles from nowhere.
Oh, man.
Probably run over by a ship or something.
That's, yeah.
It was he and 2 girls that were with him.
Because you can't, it's hard to sink a catamaran, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to
well,
do
they
that.
didn't. They just crushed it. And
Exactly. That's why I'm saying. So it must have been something more like that. Like,
what breaks up a boat like that?
Right.
I mean, if it had been anything else that had been capsized, it'd still been there.
Yeah.
And not just ripped just half the hull.
Right.
So,
That's too bad. Oh my God.
Yeah. But if there's anybody that could have pulled it off, it would have been Don Glidden.
Was he a good mariner too?
He was just the guy that could handle stuff.
Okay.
He was an airlines pilot, Continental Airlines pilot. And they landed, I believe it was in Salt Lake City in the wintertime, and something went wrong with the braking system. And he said they went by the place they were supposed to turn off to the gate at 100 miles an hour.
Oh, dang.
And they were trying to get it stopped. And there's something wrong. And finally, they were getting to the end, and he just said to the co-pilot, "Both right rudder." And they both hit it, and the plane spun sideways and just went off the runway at the end. He said those girls got everybody off that plane in 60 seconds.
Wow.
And after they were sitting there, after it was all over and everything was okay, and he turned to him and says, "Let's you and me just sit here for a second." I guess he told me that it was on the recorder.
I was saying that's on the black box, right? Let's just sit here for a second.
But that's Don.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's tragic that he disappeared like that. So
it is.
Yeah.
It was really a shame. A wonderful guy.
Yeah. And, what about the ranch? Where was that again?
The ranch was up in Camarillo, and which is like 40 miles north of Marina del Rey. But there were some guys that built trimarans, and I met the guys in Marina del Rey that built the trimarans because that's where they took them and lived on them right down there too. One named Matra and another named Sunflower.
Oh, right.
2 42-foot Cantola trimarans. They were nice boats.
We've talked about, now this has come up in recording and talking about, and every time it comes up, there's just something so beautiful about those 2 trimarans in my mind. Right. I don't know, Mantra and Sunflower. Yeah.
Well, when 4 hippies built 2 trimarans or Sunflower.
Exactly.
But they did a good job. These nice boats. They really were.
So, and what was the scene at the ranch like?
That was where people built boats. These guys built those down by Marina del Rey. There was a boat yard there, and they built it. And then it was a car agency, and now it's something else. I don't know.
Right.
But they built them down there, and that's how I got to know those guys and the multi-hull people. And then everybody up at the ranch, that's where they worked on boats and whatnot. And people kind of gravitated up there after a while. It's kind of the same crowd of multi-hull people mostly. Right. And Doc Nass, he was a psychiatrist that worked at Camarillo State Hospital, and he rented this big old ranch house just sitting in the middle of an agricultural field, just off one of the highways. I don't know, Las Posas Highway, I think it was, up there. And
did you know Doc Nassy?
What?
Did you meet Doc Nassy?
Oh, yeah, we're friends. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all went up there, and for years, the people at the ranch stayed there. People would go sailing, then come back. And
I know it's part of your life all the way up through the 80s, right? The ranch.
Oh, yeah. I'd go back there for parties, and once I was fishing and everything else years later.
Yeah.
You know, it was just kind of a group of people that... yachties that hung out and worked on boats and went sailing and that sort of thing. Right. And when you do go sailing, you meet people from all over the world. There was some guys, Australian guys. One guy's name was Don Marmo, I remember. Really good guy. You know, he showed up here. He showed up in San Francisco on the boat they had built down in Australia, I believe, and got in with the San Francisco Yacht Club and the guy that owned the Warriors at the time. And back in when was it, the 70s, when they had those winning teams?
Yeah.
Oh, they were right. They had them at their games a couple of times.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's great.
And there's a guy I met sailing, guy named One-Eyed Charlie. And his crewman was a guy named Cuppy. And tragically, they died at sea, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They were doing, you've told me, is it the concrete?
Yeah, they were moving a load of weed, and a 1,000 miles deep in 1988, December of '88, just buried them. Oh wow! Just overwhelmed them. 500 miles west of San Francisco.
But you mentioned, wasn't it them? They were in a cement boat.
They were in a ferro cement boat.
Right.
A big ferro cement ketch,
which I didn't know was even a thing until you brought up their story.
And they overloaded it, and the weather got them. Oh, I mean, it's just a goddamn shame. Yeah. It really is. Cuppy had just had a little child, and I know the girl, his partner. Mm-hmm. And it's just a crying shame.
Did that sort of thing happen a lot among the yachties? Guys going missing?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Don and these guys are the only guys that I know in the yachty community that were lost at sea. I know a number of people in the fishing community.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, people worry about police. You know, it's a dangerous job. Let me tell you something. Commercial fishing per capita is 9 times as dangerous as being a cop.
I believe you. Yeah.
9 times.
Right.
9 to 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hazard, and we will get into all of that wonderful fishing
and the sea is a merciless place. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, you screw up on the ocean and eat you up. Just eat you up.
You ever thought about the appeal of the sea to you? It's been such a big part of your life, right?
I know, and I like the forest and whatnot.
you know, exactly.
And I became a professional seaman.
Yeah.
I've been off the ocean now for about 25, 26, 27 years, mm-hmm. and I don't miss it a bit.
Yeah, wow.
I don't miss it at
just
all.
a place where things happen to you, right, in your life? Just...
Wet, cold, tired, dangerous.
Right.
It's an adventure is wet, cold, tired, and dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Does it call to me? I mean, I've lived next to it all my life. You know, you can look out the window and right there and see it.
Yeah.
But do I miss it? Nope.
Wow, interesting.
I hear people say, "Oh, I just love the ocean.
Yeah.
I haven't been on it enough." You know, I like it too. I can't say I don't. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I don't miss it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Tell me then about. I guess, you know, I want to get up to you meeting Monique in Marina del Rey, because that also is an important thing that happens to you. But building up to that, as far as boys and girls, the birds and the bees, what was it like in Marina del Rey at that point? I can only
There was
imagine.
a lot of buzzing around. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, we were, most of us, you could probably call us hippies.
Sure.
You know, love the one you're with, mm-hmm. You know, and people had relationships, they came and went, like everybody else, but...
yeah, but you had Donkins.
You know, there was Donkins Inn, which was probably one of the most successful meat markets in the West Coast. It was a bar right there in the harbor, just down at the end of
it. Overlooking the marina, right?
Yeah, it was right down at the end. And it was a constant party, 7 days a week.
Oh, my God.
In the middle of the sexual revolution.
Right there in Southern California. Yeah. And you guys, you know, live aboard who go up to Donkins.
Oh, yeah, no. And, you know, I didn't take as much advantage of it as other people did. I mean, I did. I mean, who wouldn't? But...
and just, you know, hey, you want to come back and see my boat?
Yeah, sure.
It's right there.
Yeah. No. I mean...
It's such a different time. And that's...
I am definitely guilty of all that, you know.
So all of that, living there, how did you come across then Monique? in the midst of all that?
I was coming home from someplace, and I pulled up where I usually parked, and she was washing her VW Bug in a bikini. And she was a very, very pretty young woman. Yeah. And I struck up a conversation, and it went from there.
Wow.
And we ended up spending a couple of years together.
Yeah. Tell me about Monique. What was she like?
Being drop dead beautiful. She was, at the time, 19.
Yeah.
And I was 28, I guess. She had been born in Egypt. Her mother was an Egyptian Jew, and she had started when she was 18 years old. Her mother, with dress shops, and she built it up very quickly till she was dressing some of the wealthiest women in Egypt.
Wow.
I think she had 3 stores.
Right, in different places.
2 in Cairo and 1 in Alexandria, or vice versa, or something. But she had to leave. She had 2 daughters. Monique had a sister that was a little older. But when Nasser took over, she had to leave, and probably saved their lives.
Right.
And Monique spent her early years in boarding schools in Switzerland, I think. And then they moved to California, and her mother went into the dress business in Beverly Hills. But business in Beverly Hills and business in Alexandria and Cairo were 2 different things.
Really? How so?
And I guess she didn't have enough parking. It didn't work out.
Not enough parking. That's so American. That's an American problem, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but Monique had gone to Santa Monica High School, and she graduated from there, and her mother married another guy, and, she was the kid and all. But she was living in an apartment in Marina del Rey with an older woman who had bought the car I drove up with. I bought from a little Carmen Ghia.
Oh, God, right, a little black Carmen Ghia.
A year or so earlier. And we got together, and it went from there.
Yeah. She she was, 19 and young and there and living in something, but super smart, right? She was like,
she spoke smart. She kept in good shape. She would go running. How
many languages did she speak?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And she spoke Spanish beautifully.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How soon before she moved aboard with you?
Probably about a month after we started seeing each other. She had an argument with her roommate, and her roommate kind of locked her out.
Oh, yeah.
And so she came down and said, I got locked out. And I said, really? So I went up with her, and she told me what happened. She wouldn't let something to do with her key. She kept the key and wouldn't let her have it. I thought, well, if you can't get in, why should she? So I went, there was a little stick there, a piece of wood, so I jammed it in the gun and snapped it off into the lock so she couldn't put a key into it. And then we went and waited. Well, naturally, it caused some fireworks, and Monique needed to move out, and so she came down and moved in with me.
That's beautiful. What is it like living with Monique on Serenade?
It was great.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. She cooked. We had a little, only stove we had was a little toaster oven. She cooked meals on it.
Wow.
Yeah. And she liked eating fresh stuff, so she'd go to the store, and then I go pick her up. And it's in the book. I walked in there one day, and she was in there. I knew right where to find her. She was in the produce section, checking all the. She was a picky shopper too.
Sure, right. Yeah.
And she was checking everything out, and I walked in and happened to notice there was another girl. It was Bo Derek.
How did you know it was Bo Derek?
Well, I knew who Bo Derek was.
Then? Even?
Oh yeah, she lived there with her producer.
Was she already famous?
Oh yeah.
I had no idea. I have no idea the career of Bo Derek. Not a clue. I just remember after. I don't know her till 10, which was how old I was when 10 came out. So
I don't know if she had a cornrow thing there, but anyway.
Yeah, but she was Bo Derek.
Her in there, and there was a bunch of guys all sitting there looking at the girls, and I got kind of a kick out of that.
Yeah, right.
But.
Did you take her sailing?
Oh yeah, no, we went sailing. We did all that, but Monique and we went fishing together one summer, and I don't want we'll get into all that later.
Oh yeah, later on because that comes up time wise. But before so before that initial summer, just on the boat when she moved in, were you guys able to get out and take?
We sail over to Catalina sometimes, go over there on the weekends.
Yeah, you said she enjoyed it.
A lot of times we'd stand watches at nighttime going over. We'd leave Friday night, and it takes 6-7 hours to get over there from Marina del Rey.
Yeah.
But by the time we get there, it'd be midnight or so, and sometimes I'll take it for a couple hours, then she'd take it, and we kind of sleep going over, and sometimes she wouldn't wake me up. She'd just take my watch.
Oh wow!
She liked sitting up there steering the boat.
That's beautiful. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, when and we've talked about this in previous episodes too, but when Terry Lurcher comes and talks to you and gets you involved in the flying, what did Monique think about that? Do you know?
She went with me when we went down to Mexico, and Terry and she and I and his girlfriend went down there. She was not impressed with Terry.
She did not have a good. That was a difficult trip for you.
Actually, I put her through some real shit. I mean, she waited for me 12 nights, and she told me later that she couldn't get to sleep till she heard my footsteps coming down the dock.
Right.
And I'm sure that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm dumb enough to be fearless. Didn't bother me a bit. I'm sorry I put her through what I put her through.
Yeah.
I mean, she was, as you pointed out, I didn't know it at the time, and she pointed out in the book, she was afraid for both of us, and she was. I never looked at it that way until you pointed it out to me. I mean, I was just,
Mm-hmm. Okay, well then next then, I think we should talk about the flying.
Yeah.
Bobby's first flight happened in July of 1972, less than a year after meeting Monique. After that initial flight, the subject of the very first episode of this podcast, by the way, Bobby and Pete made a dozen more, flying every 2 weeks, and each night they flew, Monique laid awake, listening for the sound of Bobby coming down the dock, returning safely to her. And she had reason to worry.
And we were in almost 90 degrees to the ground. I mean, I had full power, making as hard a left turn as I could make. And Pete says, he's got 3 hours of flight time right now. He says, don't stall it. And I'm thinking, shut the fuck up.
Those subsequent flights and the risks and danger Bobby and Pete faced are the subject of the next episode of The One They Couldn't Catch. I'm Paul Kritz.